Hello, this is Janelle Fernandez, immigration attorney. Please contact me with all of your immigration questions, inquiries, or comments on your process. You can reach me at fernandesimmigration.com, FERNANDES, fernandesimmigration.com, or you can call the firm and schedule a consult at 754-300-8434. That's 754-300-8434. I am here to help.
Sounds like it's gonna become its own thing, like something else.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna get a lot of backlash.
Oh, he's already been getting a lot of heat.
And time is gonna get worse because what happened with the Nets in Brooklyn really failed.
Yes, it did.
Right, and the dynamic how he was utilized, and what the end result for the people.
Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn, so that became the epicenter of the change. The
gentrification.
Gentrification.
It became the epicenter. Now from there, it spread out.
Of course.
And he was able, whether he wanted to or not, be utilized.
Yeah, he's part of that.
By those that saw something, and he obviously got some, but there's others that are getting much more.
Yeah.
And,
lots more. Lots more.
It's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
When he does command a respect, he commands an admiration of his people because of his accomplishments, his discipline. It's not easy to become a billionaire.
Not at all.
So with all the trappings and the distractions, what you could do with your money, that is heightened. For example, you look at Bill Gates. Bill Gates had a mother that was already in that world. Mm-hmm. So he understood it. He knew, had the attributes and the characteristics, the foundation to navigate through that. When Jay, you come out with projects.
Yeah. Just
all different types of temptation at different levels. So you got to give him credit.
Yeah.
For where he came. However, you have a platform and to utilize it for profit. It's like you elevate yourself to the level of Donald Trump's.
Yeah, what makes you different? It's capitalism.
It's capitalism, because if you think about how Jay-Z made his first 100,000 based on see the kind of the podcast based on his come up, right?
Yeah.
In his music, he says he makes his first $100,000 off drug dealing. So you're taking a negative into a positive. Not saying you're trying to teach your kids to go that route, but to show them that that's not the end game. You may start one way, but the whole idea is to finish the other way.
Yeah.
But in the sense of Colin Kaepernick, how does that benefit him? You're saying that we understand because I'm not sure if you listen to his little interview when they ask him about it. He says, what do we do about it, right? We heard him. We know what the whole idea is, but. A lot of now this is where the conversation gets tightened in the industry.
Are we recording this?
Yes, it's recording. Okay, all right, good. Yeah, so good. So hold on, let me slide over. Okay, so in the contrast of, you have other entertainers that are saying that this should give. Give me a second. I'm not sure I can hear me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So we're not recording.
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I was wondering.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, so in the contrast that you think that he's going to be technically opening the door for athletes, for especially Colin Kaepernick, based on this thing?
It was never about athletes playing. It was about police brutality.
That's correct.
And then it became give Colin Kaepernick his job back.
Yeah.
And now it's like Colin Kaepernick is not going to work for the NFL. Ever again.
No.
So I can understand. He sued them. But why would he? Because
you see, all right, for example, we're gonna switch for a quick second, right? In basketball, you can say what you want to a certain degree, right? So you basically can stand whatever stand. You can take your platform and stand strong. Say how you feel, and you can have that narrative. You're trying to tell me in the NFL, it's now not to be racist. It's like it's a slave master thing. It's like I can only do what you tell me to do.
Well, I mean, it's like that in basketball, but the powers that be are a little more lenient. Because at any corporation, at any organization, you basically got to follow what they're pushing.
They're lenient because the dynamics of basketball.
We gotta give you a mic.
Yes. Yes.
So the dynamics of basketball are different. You have 11 players max.
Yep.
Football, you have up to 50-something players. I
Yes.
don't know what the roster is.
Yes.
So there is more flexibility from ownership component and more replaceability, if I can use that term.
Yeah.
And whereas basketball, you have superstars that are basketball.
Mm-hmm.
When Stephen Curry decides to speak out, Stephen Curry is basketball.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's little you could do, because if you take Stephen Curry away from the game, you have to find another.
You're hurting
Stephen
yourself,
Curry.
yeah.
Yeah, you're hurting
How
yourself.
many years will it take to replace that? So they're looking at it from a different
Oh, yeah.
model as far as what these players are truly. And I remember being at work, and I worked at a white male dominated field, right? And,
Yeah.
Yes.
they were saying they were upset with, I think it was the last CBO where they were going to go on strike, possibly like 2011 or something, whatever the year was.
Yep.
They're like, they're just players. They're just players. They're employees. And I was like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
Let's say the price of oil goes up.
Yeah.
UPS pays that price of oil.
Yes, they
It's
do.
called a commodity.
Yes, they
They're
do.
not employees. They're a commodity for business. You need them, and the price is determined by the market.
Right.
That's true.
And so, to that dynamic is really different. But what I found interesting, to your point, was how Roger the Goodell was just in the fray,
Yes.
Yeah.
watching
Yes.
Yeah.
as Jay-Z spoke for him.
I'm telling you, it's the ones that don't speak you got to watch.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're the ones pulling the strings.
Because that's what you needed. Not to cut. You needed. I'm gonna say this based on Jay-Z's platform of the pull you say he will have in the black community.
Yeah.
This is how you pull the blanket over people's eyes. You know.
Here's the thing. At the Super Bowl, Jay-Z was the one calling rappers and saying, don't perform. When you
That's
get-
correct. I was
when
gonna
you
get there.
that call,
I was gonna
say
get there,
no.
Davil.
Who else in hip-hop has that power? Maybe Diddy? Not this point. Not Diddy
this
don't got
point.
that power.
Well, not 10 years ago, Diddy would have had that power.
Maybe.
But not now. Jay-Z's the one who technically holds that power.
So,
But did he stop it because it's a bad deal? Or was it because we're supposed to stand for Kaepernick, or are we supposed to stand for criminal justice? Or was it a bad deal in the backgrounds for them to perform?
Well, now we're gonna switch this. Damien Dash did an interview, right in the heat of this moment, and I love to hate Damien Dash because
Why?
Damien Dash speaks a dirty truth.
yeah.
Because you think about what he did for Jay-Z, and he talks about what he's come up. Now, a lot of people will say he's still upset about what happened, but in his idea, as the question Trevor asked, it was more capital. That was the whole idea, because he thought the NFL wasn't paying artists enough money. That was the reason why he was like, don't go
To perform the Super Bowl.
to perform the Super Bowl.
Because I do remember, sorry to cut you, I do remember hearing about when an artist is asked to perform for the Super Bowl, they're not getting money. They're actually paying money. It's more of, just your image.
It's a huge platform.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And your image
crazy.
is going to be what you're going to need. Because after a performance, usually the album sales goes up.
Exposure.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But the Super Bowl is advertising you performing, so they're making money off that too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's business, baby.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta pay me my money.
But Don, this is what happened.
Go ahead.
Let's go. You remember when Philly won the championship, NFL championship?
Oh, yeah.
It was like 2
Eagles.
years ago. Eagles, right?
Yep.
Now, Trev, how long ago did we heard Meat Mill's album?
You was the latest one?
No, the Dream Tracer went. Hold up, wait a minute.
The intro.
4 or 5 years ago.
That was years ago.
Years ago, right?
Yeah.
But look what they were playing. Now think about everybody who got lifted off that little intro off Meat Mills and went on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple, and decided to play that one track.
That was the anthem.
That was the anthem.
Yeah.
So when you perform at the Super Bowl, especially if it's one of your favorite artists, I remember, I think when Maroon 5 closed, I think it was last year Maroon 5 played.
Yeah.
All right. How many people went to YouTube and started listening to some of their old?
Course, I'm sure the video views go up. Downloads go up.
And you already know how much capital you make off data. Just basically how YouTube is going to pay you based on those millions. Now, the NFL has millions of people. Now, this is how crazy it is. Now, being Jamaican, we're not big in football, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say American football because we call football soccer.
Got you.
So we call it rugby. We're not big in football, but in this generation now, when Super Bowl plays in Jamaica, they don't even care about the sport, but they're sitting there something like just to watch the entertainment off the Super Bowl. Now that's a worldwide platform. You just went from the small market of America that was millions, right?
Yeah.
To you just open up a mass of the billion that's in the world.
Okay, but at the same time, it's like you could say that for anything. The artist still should get paid.
Yeah,
like nobody's out here performing for free. You don't go to a record label and they tell you, "Oh well, we're gonna put you in front of all these cameras and all these people, and you should just be happy to be around Atlantic Records."
I don't know. TLC would beg to differ that one. TLC would beg to
didn't know what the truth was.
TLC
Trevor probably knows.
I mean, look at 360 deals too. It's not. You're more getting paid.
Much the same thing they're trying to sell.
You're getting paid off with exposure, which
that you can do yourself.
Yeah,
well, the NFL has mastered their product.
Yes,
so
I believe you.
When it comes to that, that's just what they're doing. They know that this event, which is once a year, is a marketing bonanza. Mm-hmm. So if you now are an artist, instead of having you come in and pay you, you're paying us because you're gonna get paid off of paying us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like someone will pay someone to market or they understand the legs of business and the people that are coming in because it's not just the artists; they have a team.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The team recognizes that there's lucrativity or lucrativeness in being there in that spotlight.
And putting that on your resume.
And furthermore, there'll be others that will just jump to it.
Of course, yeah.
So,
There's always
you ain't gonna pay it; somebody else will.
And we saw that with Travis Scott. I mean, Travis was like, "I don't care what you say, Jay-Z.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this."
Yeah. You know? Look what happened. Astroworld was like number one for a long time after.
But that was a whole nother thing. Like he was selling. He did it real good because he was selling merchandise, and then every piece of merchandise he was selling, he sold a CD with. Yeah. Well, and the merchandise was like really, really good stuff.
Well, all right, just to touch on Travis Scott thing. Travis Scott's biggest promotional person was his girlfriend.
Sure, it was not Nicki.
No, it was his girlfriend. Nicki played her part because what we learned from Easy, all publicity is publicity, right?
Yeah.
Whatever is bad or good,
it's good publicity.
It's good publicity. Now you're talking about what's her name? Kylie Jenner. Kylie platform. Now,
brand.
She is a brand.
Yeah.
But what brand does she narrative or she owns? She owns young, white Americans.
Yeah.
So male or female, you're on her timeline. So when she posts that, just for her fans gonna be like, "Oh my God, I'm supporting Kylie." Press play.
We saw what happened with the Fire Festival.
Oh, and they paid her $110.
Yeah. Just
for her to post one video.
We saw what happened. So yeah, you're right.
Right now, let's get back to the NFL.
Yeah, let's
spin back to the NFL. Commercials or advertisements pays the NFL to show their product. I just want you to just make sure you get that. And it's a bid. You can't just go into the NFL doing Super Bowl season and be like, "Hey guys, I just want to show my."
Like, no, you're going for 30-second, maybe less spots,
and you're paying for that.
Yeah.
So now I feel, yes, you're right. The artist should be getting paid. But what I feel the NFL is doing is treating the artists basically the same way they treating these commercial people.
I was about to say the same way you treat their players. I thought you were gonna hit that dead on.
No, but
you're right.
They're treating them the same way because they're looking at you like, yo, this is your product. This is your time to showcase your product. Go and show your audience. And now for me, I'm gonna say this: the NFL halftime show has always been a bust for me because most artists today are studio artists, right?
Yeah, not good at.
It hasn't been much artists that really put their foot in it. I think the last real one was probably Beyonce.
Well, I can't say Beyonce was good. I did like Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars too. Yeah. That was a good performance. But he's a great performer.
Yeah,
you know, Beyonce's a great performer.
No, but let's look at the narrative of this now. The artists that has performed at the Super Bowl, right, all have number one selling albums within that year.
Following
Maroon 5.
But they're always top artists though that perform. You never really see like a newcomer that's like kinda sorta. It's all top
that's
performers.
A requirement. So
yeah.
You got to remember at the source of this is this capital. It's not. The requirement is you have to be big to come in there.
Yeah.
We're not trying to see anyone small. It's just now this is a platform for you to get bigger.
Yeah.
And this is, the NFL knows it. And like you said now, and this is what they're trying to do in becoming global, having games in Mexico, having games in
yes,
London.
they do.
London,
Who knows elsewhere? They understand that ultimately the root of all this is money.
Yeah.
And making more money. So it's a business, and even though it's stated as a nonprofit,
it is a business.
It's very much so a business, and in that they, like I said, they have a lock on this product and how they're handling it, and even now as they're trying to set these fires off, because one, the owner, they're battling with the dynamic of ownership. Like when for example, with the last CBA agreement. They were threatening to go on strike, and none of them wanted to disclose their numbers.
Yeah.
So the players were saying, "Okay, well, we want better. We want better pensions, better everything, better because you're making money." And they're like, "Oh no, we can't give you more money." But you see organizations like Cowboys that are worth. Jerry Jones bought it for $120 million, $140 million. It's worth over $4 billion now.
Yes.
Win or lose.
Win or lose.
And they haven't won the Super Bowl in over 20 years. Over 20 years. So
you have that hope.
So they understand the business dynamic of it, that this is not just a game. This is, to us, we're blinded by the game.
Yes, we are.
And many times even the negative effects or negative backlash to kneeling, going back to camp, is because they see it as America. This is America. Nothing is more
American
football,
sport.
more American than football, right? But at the same time, there is, and these are the dynamics that the owners are trying to protect, because they feel like if we lose this is what creates this.
Yes.
And when you have a functioning product, it really puts you at a disadvantage because you don't want to mess up a functioning product. I think that's their dynamic. But this is where it intersects when majority of the players are of African descent. And there's issues there that meet their business and meet or intersect with their business, intersect with what they got going. And because of it being more than just business, because football is expression, right? It is. So this is where they have to manage it, and I think they've been doing a poor job in managing it.
Definitely.
Really, the adding of Jay-Z, I want to share this. And this is, I want to go a little deep if I could on this.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The term prostitution.
Yes.
Right? It involves capital, service, right?
Yeah.
But it's called prostitution. It's not called business anymore because it's something that shouldn't be sold. It's being sold.
Yeah.
And what Jay-Z did is very similar to that in my eyes.
Yes, he did.
So,
something that...
hold on, let's back it.
That's powerful. That's powerful
right now.
That's powerful.
So what exactly do you think Jay-Z sold in this scenario?
Remember how he expressed it himself. I was trying to mimic it with my wife. He said, "No, you're a little nasal. You got the New York part, but you got a little nasal." And he said it started with protests. Right. And he was aggressive in sharing it. Like, everybody knows, right? Everybody, you know what the issue is.
Yeah. You know what the issue is.
So it started with protest.
Yep.
And is protest something that should be capitalized? I say absolutely not.
No, it's not.
Protest is that if you're going to the point of protest, it's something that is something that is core.
Yeah.
Something that does not involve money. Usually, protests turn into sometimes protests turn into conflict and war.
Yeah, violence.
Right.
And you
Look at Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
look at Japan.
Yeah.
All Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So when you now see protest as an the next stage of protest is pretty much what he's saying without saying, inferring is, let's make a difference through my association with my business.
Yeah, cut the check.
And that's where I may see it as
Prostitution.
Yeah.
Yes. It's something that should not be sold. Freedom of assembly.
It's true. And yeah.
I mean, see, that's the narrative. It's the man in the mirror. I was downvoted when I said the person who's being quiet. Who's pulled
the spook who sat by the door.
The spook who sat by the door, pulling all the
just
powers.
Listening.
But I'm gonna say this, not saying, Jay-Z's not financially stable enough not to want to make a deal, but it just shows you how much further we will go sometime to make an extra dollar. I think it's
beyond the money, because when it comes to basketball ownership, it's different from NFL ownership. Like, NFL ownership is like a club.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of how much money you have, they might not let you in that club.
Yeah, look at Rush Limbaugh. He
Yeah.
tried.
They're like, I don't care how much money you got, you're not on the team.
They blackballed him.
And they can do that.
Yeah, they have. There's a level of prestige.
Oh yeah,
that comes with owning a team.
It's a huge deal,
especially football, basketball too. Because you saw the Clippers owner; he paid $2 billion for them.
Yes, he did. $2 billion.
The Clippers, bro. The Clippers.
Yeah.
Can't say it too much now.
No, that got Kawhi over there. That changes a lot.
Yes, it's working out for them now. That's a hard pill to swallow.
And they got Jerry West over there too. So
it's not a knock on them. What I'm saying is that when you pay that for the Clippers, what are the Knicks worth? Right?
Think about
it. What is Golden State worth? Right?
Yeah.
So he ups the value of every team when he puts that much money. It's worth even more.
Yes. Because look at the Nets. And then, we're gonna go back from New Jersey Nets before it became Brooklyn Nets, right?
Okay.
The New Jersey Nets was never a top basketball team.
For a second, they had Jason Kidd.
Yeah, but they were still
Darren Williams. Was that?
Yeah, that literally a flash.
Yeah.
Well, a year and a half.
But look, guys, we're during those times. Those are during the Michael Jordan times.
Yeah, so that's everyone was not visible.
Well, he was
MJ. Was
you were not visible, and at the end of Jason Kidd's career, even when I forgot what is that Kenyon Martin went to the Nets as well. Mm-hmm. Even during that era, the Lakers shut that era down. It was Kobe, Shaq, Kobe. But we can go through the eras, but the Nets has never been. They never had an era. They never had the opportunity to go to like a conference finals or division finals for them to gain that clout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now look at what the Nets look like at this point. They're poised to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They are.
I can see.
No, that's basically what it is. They're basically poised to get there.
They're only stacked team in the East.
Not necessarily.
Of course, Milwaukee.
Okay.
But also a team that got you got Durant,
seasoned players too.
You have Irie. Now I think someone else was mentioned. Melo might be mentioned to be going there too. But that's on hope.
Yeah,
that's on hope.
Melo is hoping to get back in there right now, but still. But again, the Nets has never been that team. But so the Nets has gained some value over the period of time because, as they say, the capital with it and the identity that Brooklyn now got from saying that they have their own team.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the stadium alone itself transformed downtown Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So
they came in and just
exploded.
You see high rise. A few years ago, I was out in the harbor, Statue of Liberty, on a boat ride with my wife,
Yeah.
And I said we see Jersey City, see Manhattan, see Brooklyn. So that you see the high rises coming up on. Or now Midtown Manhattan exploded. They got so many different buildings that are over 100 or close to 100 floors.
Yeah.
But Brooklyn is up and coming. I said Brooklyn will have more high rises. Downtown Brooklyn will have more high rises than downtown Manhattan.
Wow.
The next 10, 15 years. Right now, you see it there, and after not seeing activity as far as that level of construction for many years in New York, as far as them building up high rises, but now it's like almost the 80s all over again. We don't know because they're building up so many different buildings there.
Yeah, tearing down, building up.
When you have high rises, now everything is pushing outward. Even out to a long
Yes,
island.
it is.
So I'm from East New York, with East, like the furthest out part of Brooklyn, right? So it's even touching there. I was at home, I call it homes, and they're like, it's safe here now. I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember.
But no, and that was gonna be the next question, because I want you to understand, the more high rises you have, you actually pushes up property value. So now a lot of the people who technically is inclined to crime or poverty, more or less, is now being pushed away.
They get priced out.
But this is my big question now. Where are those people going? Where do you push them and they move to? Because if they can't afford rent there, you're pushing one issue into another area. That would be the question. But then again, I guess the good thing about high rises means that there's more job opportunities. Hopefully, people will be able to take advantage of it that way. But it still pushes. It doesn't clean up the dirt. You just push it in another corner.
Yeah, like when we talk about gentrification, I always wonder, is it all bad? Like, in the long run, would that help where we used to come from? I'm from Fort Lauderdale, and I see all the kind of cleaner areas, like sunrise, and I noticed it's not dangerous because I grew up. My mom said, "Do not go down Sis Trunk." Even though I'm like, I don't drive, but still, don't go down there.
Just don't go in that area.
And I grew up knowing, don't go down there. Now, I heard that there's a billionaire buying that block. Wow.
Yeah, right? But that's the problem. Like, who owns the property there?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's good if you have ownership in the neighborhood, and you have commercial people coming in, building up. Like, I'm fine with like people gentrifying my neighborhood. I'm fine with it. Build up your commercial businesses. Yes, it raises my property value because I have ownership.
Right.
Yeah. But if people are renting, where the landlord could say, "Hey, these my property value is going up, but I'm going to raise my rent."
That's the thing. What's at question? I believe is history.
Yes, it is.
When it comes to gentrification. For example, in Brooklyn, we have Marcus Garvey Boulevard. We had so many different streets that were named. I knew Marcus Garvey Boulevard before I knew Marcus Garvey.
Wow.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
Right? That's powerful. And what happens is, excuse the term, it gets whitewashed.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
So that historic component there, because even how... the numbers of people who, Caribbeans, for example, grew in areas like Brooklyn because the Italians and the Jews left.
Yeah.
So, there is a component of history being, like, here locally, like, there's a gentrification push in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Because it's prime real estate.
Yes, it is.
Right? And trust me, the eyes are there. But what happens when that happens, when that occurs? That small area that was... Well, many people don't know. Melbourne was founded by
black people. Yep.
Yes, it was.
And you wouldn't know.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So that's what occurs. The history gets lost. So change is inevitable. So those are the things that kind of intersect. We're gonna have change. Change is gonna happen, but how?
Yeah, it's how you go about it. And I could say for our area specifically, it's I can see where it's going, but if you don't see where it's going, it could be an issue.
That's the problem,
because they're turning certain zip codes, certain areas, to where they just don't care. Like, I've heard about people like selling drugs, like in residential neighborhoods. Like, that shouldn't be going on there. You know what I'm saying? But if the police are kind of just like, well, we don't really, whatever happens in that area happens. you see what ends up happening in the long run. You know. Yeah. But back to Jay-Z. let's go dial it back, okay? So Colin Kaepernick does this protest to bring awareness to police brutality.
Yes.
And according to Jay-Z, we're past that.
No. Well, he may be past it.
Yeah, exactly. He may be past it. But
on to the next one.
My thing is like, because I've been following this for a minute, right? Just thinking, just listening to what's going on. I can understand Jay-Z doing his thing. At the same time, there's still being protests. But to say that because I'm doing this deal, protests should end, that's crazy.
And the protest is really mild. I mean, as far as the response to the protest, because if we really knew our power, the ones that are pushing for protests, and we knew there was unity, that would change in a heartbeat.
Yes, it would.
In a heartbeat. It would because that's the level of power we have, but we just don't know. And it really is not an individual power; it's a collective power. We could just bring those that are, because there is no NFL without people of color.
And this is the thing. This is the thing about last year. I'll be honest. I didn't watch the NFL for a good portion of the season.
Me neither.
But then there was like December where nothing else was on TV. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna watch a game. You
Basketball.
I watch NFL. My bad. But a lot of other guys I know that love, and because I'm a college football guy, but there's guys out there that love the NFL. They never skipped a beat. You know, so it's like we weren't really unified on it. But at the same time, just from that little disruption in the system, you did see NFL ratings go down.
Well, and Naville, not to cut you, NFL ratings went down 2 different ways. You had black people, one who was saying that because NFL doesn't stand with us.
Yeah.
Right? We're not watching it. Now, second, you had Caucasian Americans who decided not to watch the NFL because they had black people.
They didn't want to hear about the kneeling.
And disrespecting the flag. So the NFL lost in both ways. And I'm going to touch on something that was said earlier. That's powerful. We don't know how much power we have. And I'm going to say how much power we have because as a culture, black people as a culture, as a nation, we're multicultural.
Oh, yeah.
Because when white people said that they're stopping, it's just white people that stops. When Hispanic people say they're stopping, it's just Hispanic people that stops. And I'm just talking inside of America.
Yeah.
But when black people decide that they're making a stand and they're stopping, multi-racial or culture stops. That's how powerful we are. Now, let's throw this out there. Black Panther.
Okay.
We decided as a culture, we're going to support the life out of this movie.
Yeah.
Look what we did to Black Panther.
Over $1 billion.
That's just power. Now,
I thought you were talking about the party.
The party.
My bad. Well, I was about to come back at you with some stuff, and I'm like, hold up. Just so we know, Wakanda forever. You see how that movie just changed the narrative up less?
No, it did change the narrative.
That's a whole nother topic right there, man.
Right?
A whole nother podcast.
That's a whole other podcast, man. That's scary.
But
that's scary.
But no,
let me just tell. That's scary because you think about it think about our kids. Like you say, Black Panther, they're gonna think Wakanda forever. Totally wiped out
the history,
the real meaning of Black Panther. Black Panther Party.
And the funny thing is, the Black Panther Party was created first, and the whole Black Panther character was created like a couple months later. So that's just.
And they claim that it was no correlation, but come on now,
right? But I do want to say, Davil, it shows how much power we have.
Of course.
Now, when I say multicultural, that we stop because we have. All right, we're going to use places in Florida. We're using places south of Georgia. Going south, right?
Okay.
These 2 states that we have heavy diversity where black and white mix. Now, when we make a stop, black people have enough power where their white friends will say, you know what, we're stopping too. We're not moving, right? But if the white friend will look at them and be like, we're stopping. The black person like, you good? Yeah,
but let me think about that.
I'm gonna leave you. Why you stopping?
I can see that.
But it happens around here because you don't see most black Americans taking white people's culture. They feel that way, but we don't. What they've been doing for years is infringing on ours and trying to make it theirs. And then when they gain the spotlight, it's like, guys, look what we created. Because, for example, we have Jamaican dance, the butterfly.
Yeah.
Which other country have the butterfly?
Nobody else.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, me and my wife was on YouTube watching a video where there's this Caucasian guy. There's this Caucasian guy. He has 20 million views teaching like four Jamaican dances that was hot in the 90s.
That's wild.
And gave them all new names. And I'm looking at the views and I'm like, not one of Jamaica's videos that promotes her new dance has nowhere close. But I guarantee if somebody else watches that video, it now belongs to him.
But just about when you're saying the butterfly, isn't the Black American kind took that too? With
Tootsie Roll.
But no one remembers them?
No. But we held on to the butterfly.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that they will always take our culture. We can even go back to the light bulb. Who created the light bulb?
But I mean, okay, so we're talking about cultural appropriation. But at the same time, there's an exchange that has to happen when you mix cultures.
That's true.
They have to learn from us. We learn from them. That's just how it works. Mm-hmm. So, yes, the butterfly dance might have been lost through that translation, but at the same time, they attached their entire culture to a small island in the Caribbean.
Yes.
That's how Jamaica is what it is today.
No, true.
You think about Bob Marley. You think about Marcus Garvey.
You say something that really opened up the dam. And there's a cascade of thoughts going in because of our history. When you study history, European history, the origin starts with Herodotus, 400 BC.
Yes.
That's not too long ago. But even before that, there was so much history written and so much history destroyed.
Right.
Yep.
So much so that even in what was actually, like, for example, you ask the Egyptians, you ask the Greeks, where'd you get all this philosophy and all these? They'll say, we got it from the Egyptians.
Yeah.
They'll be like, no, they didn't get it from the Egyptians. But that's what they say written down.
Yeah.
They went to discover and get greater knowledge from other places, but it gets forgotten.
Yep.
So when you give that example of the butterfly,
Yes.
it's kind of like there's a previous example of history, how things can get eclipsed. I'm not going to say whitewash.
Whitewash, yeah.
They can get eclipsed, and you forget what was the origin. But we know that, in history, we weren't there, and we have to rely on his story, right?
Yeah.
His story.
Yeah, his story. So it's just interesting. The cascade for me is, okay, well, his story has a lot of holes in it, and to say that that there was no contribution from a people, and where the people that had it said we got it from them is quite interesting, and it makes me think of that as we're talking about social justice and capitalism and all the things that intersect.
Now let's open the narrative now. How does this same narrative goes with Colin Kaepernick and Jay-Z? Because now we're not really talking about Kaepernick kneeling and what the whole purpose of it is. Now we're talking about what Jay-Z's doing in capitalism right now. There's more, I would say, more podcasters, more radio stations and interview who's giving more light to Jay-Z trying to do this thing than the whole reason that we stand with Kaepernick in the first place.
But this is the problem. Where's the correlation between Jay-Z doing this? And just to clarify, the deal that he's doing is basically running the entertainment portion of the NFL.
Right.
What does that have to do with police brutality? You know what I'm saying? I could understand if he was getting a deal with them where he's going to do some nonprofit, where he did something related to police brutality.
But you got to look at the quiet person in the room. Just remember, he was just like he was as if he was even there. You have to look. Where's Waldo? You have to
where's Waldo?
To find.
It's like that meme where you circle the person in the background.
Because in today's world, innuendos and indirects are very strong.
Right.
Yeah.
And we sometimes put a lot of emphasis on what's said, what's published, but we lose the spirit of things. Right? So for the quiet person in the room, I think his hopes are there is no connection, but there is a connection.
There is a connection.
Yeah.
But not explicitly. It's more implicit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it is the long way around to not really expose yourself. So yes, you're right. He's only handling entertainment.
Yeah.
But hey, look what we're doing. We're open-minded. And just if just some of that, when Spike Lee did his protest with the Oscars,
right?
I think the viewership, it was less than 20% that it was down. It wasn't something like
major.
Yeah,
but it was enough for them to
what's going on?
Because that's money,
right?
And any corporation, you don't want to leave anything on the table.
Yeah.
So the demand. This is why we focus on Jay, not necessarily Roger Goodell, and not Cap and what happened. Because even in that, I like to interject, or introduce this. Tim Tebow knelt.
Yeah.
and he got a world of support from the same contingency that is criticizing Cap and vehemently. Oh, you unpaid patriot. And to me, it's interesting because I try to be a fair person. I try to look at both sides and come to a solution where there is compromise and agreement. Right? And that's difficult in today's age. But where is the contrast in that? I have not heard the explanation of the difference of Tim Tebow kneeling, which received an applause. Granted, his kneeling was for aborted babies and bringing awareness to that, but it was still protest, and it was still during the national anthem, right? So that's one dynamic. But again, we could chop it up if time be. But also getting back to Jay-Z, this is where for him, in the words, because I think he was put on the spotlight. It's not like he said, I'm not going to speak, or I'm not. He could have done that. Jay-Z has been part of he protested so many Grammys, won.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I'm not going to go.
Yes.
So now, where that protest was in the past that he's done, okay, where is that spirit? And why is it compromising? Because what many believe is that Jay wants to buy a team. And usually that God status, because what owners of teams do have, right? It's like a God status, is very appealing. So appealing, you're able to compromise.
You about to say so?
Your soul.
Yes.
And that's a dynamic I feel is that question. It's like, where's your soul? Where's your conscience? You gave your inheritance for that bowl of soup.
That's it.
Because that it's truly a bowl of soup, but you're a man with vision. And I think what Jay is saying that bowl of soup could give me my inheritance back.
Well, I would say this. I think Jay-Z had his inheritance back. Now, I'm gonna pull back a couple of years back to the whole Damon Dash thing.
Okay.
All right. Let's peel the onion for a second. Okay. Damon Dash and Jay-Z, Rockefeller. They had a team that they were very tight with. He said, and I'm just gonna fast forward. Jay-Z went on a business trip with the same guys that they had odds with.
Lior.
Well, I'm not. You can get.
We all know it.
Y'all get into the names, and then out of the blue, you came back from the business trip, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody that you were doing business with at the moment, you sever. Now look at the trajectory of what happened with Jay-Z after that point. Everything he touched, and I would say this touched outside of the African American community, right? Because not saying African Americans don't really buy painting. Not saying we don't buy champagne, right? Yeah. Look where his finance grew from that moment to this point. Now let's get close to the Colin Kaepernick thing. Why Jay-Z is good. Now we basically looked at what Kaepernick did. Yes, he brought the awareness, but at the awareness he brought, the NFL lost money. They lost viewership, right?
Okay.
They lost viewership because black people are kneeling. I'm just going to sum it up to that point. Now, bringing Jay-Z in to this deal, Jay-Z's part of it. So now what Jay-Z comes with is with his mass of his audience, his black community, his celebrity, his social capitalism. He's going to say, like, you guys, you know what? We ain't kneeling no more. Jay-Z's talking. Jay-Z, our guy, is talking to those people over there. So now
he's got it handled.
He got it handled. So now, as black people who support the NFL or who was not watching before, guys, go back to watching the NFL. Now you just basically bring black people back. Yeah. Now on your hope.
Yeah, that's the plan. Of course.
That's the plan.
That.
Now the white audience who's so upset that the black guys are kneeling and protesting. Now when they stop protesting, they're like, oh snap, they're not protesting no more. All right, guys, come back. Let's go back to watching the NFL. So the quiet guy in the room is not really quiet. All he's just not doing is speaking.
Yeah, but he's pulling all the strings.
He's pulling all the major strings.
If Jay-Z, he's had a power position which he's exercised his power in not speaking in protest.
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't protest. He could have not spoken, but he was, I believe, told.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's the wrong chess move.
That was part of the deal.
Yeah.
In which, we'll do this, but you have to.
Because we never see Jay-Z publicly
to that degree.
Any type of press conference type thing. That was strange.
That was the highlight for me. I want you to understand. Like Jay-Z's thing is that, all right, we're gonna go through some of his albums and American Gangsters, right? And his status. His thing is real gangsters move in silence. Yeah. That's why he stays silent. You don't ever see the chest move.
Yeah, you always hear about the deal after it's closed.
Yes. But for some reason, this deal had to be publicized right then and there. Vocalized.
The NFL season's about to start. Come on now. The season's about to start. We got to do it now, Jay.
Sometimes the king has to be a pawn.
Yes, he has.
Fly Jay-Z down here. Get him on camera.
Yes.
We'll give you what you're asking for.
Yeah.
You know, we have a possibility of some other opportunities. And it's going to be difficult because Jay, he is a somewhat articulate person. And even as he speaks, I love the illustration, the mind behind his speech.
Oh, yeah.
I say somewhat because I think he could be a little more fluid, but I see the mind. The mind is a beautiful mind. He understands, and he's grown a lot. As I see him expose and talk about his issues with his wife and things and therapy and attributes that weren't really his foundation.
Yep.
He's grown. However, you could also see other things in play. Just because you don't necessarily hear it. You can hear other words. And his tone was one of combativeness.
Yes.
And combating his own people.
Yeah.
Right. As far as gathering. Furthermore, he's been utilized like this before. So here you are again. To what point is there that there's like a disconnect or a hypocrisy in the things that you said? And that's okay because we as humans, we're not totally not hypocrites. We have some degree of hypocrisy.
Exactly.
But there's a great disconnect in what his messages have been in the past and what his message was now. And I think the question is, I think we know the answer in our hearts, not necessarily in our mouths, but in our hearts we know the answer, what the answer is. It's like you bought something and sold something in the process.
Yeah.
And the question is, what is it? That is the question.
Doesn't matter. It's prostitution.
It
doesn't matter.
And
it wasn't yours to sell. That's the problem.
And Navel, that is a key thing. That's the key. That's the key thing right there. Because what he sold is not his to sell.
Exactly.
Because I want you to understand, when you make deals, when you make certain deals, right? Especially the deals that you're happy about, you identify them. Yeah. You want to say to the world, like, look, this is when he just talked about, all his liquor and all this stuff that he made his money off.
Yep.
No, now I want you to explain to me, with all the money you've been making and how rich you are, Jay-Z, why was this particular angle so important to you? Yeah. Why was it so important?
And I'd like to add that you continue, please. because we see how important it is because it brought him from outside of his norm.
Yeah.
So when we have patterns, right, and he's showing a pattern, this particular incident demonstrates the importance because you come out of your pattern, and start to speak. But continue.
And hold on, you look at what's going on. The hip hop community per se is not riding with this.
No, okay, it's hard for me to say that, Donville.
But there is a group that is.
It's a heavy group. Like, I want you to understand.
We got to remember, the consumers of hip hop are not mostly black. They're mostly white America.
It's not even a mostly because
it's
bad to say
predominantly white America.
It's predominantly because black people for some reason don't buy albums. We don't go
that, but also we're a small percentage of the population.
Yeah.
So just basic math.
Just in general,
they're running the market.
And don't think for a second that this wasn't planned out.
Yes, it is. You have a marketing team for that.
So I don't think that the people that are speaking out, that are trying to silence the voice of protest.
Yeah.
Because I have no other way than saying it. That you're trying to silence the voice of protest. That this wasn't contrived and pre-planned and strategized. So-and-so, I need you to say this at this time. And so-and-so, I need you to say that. We've been dealing with that for so long. And there is a component when... Because, the essence of this is democracy, right? The people rule. The people have a voice.
Yeah.
The people... And really moving towards a more perfect union. That as things evolve and things that we begin to move as a collective and grow collectively. However, it seems like the stains of the past continue to be consistent and consistently oppressive towards a segment of the population. Now, granted, there's been oppression for every segment, right, in history.
Yeah.
But it seems like when it comes to a specific segment, it is consistently oppressive.
Yeah, systematic. It's planned out.
This is just, I'm just going to say consistently. Systematic down a little deeper. But you could just look at the fruit and they'll tell you what's going on in the root.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yes, it is.
So when we look at the fruit, okay, the manifestations of where we are, social, economic, and education-wise, and even when it comes to spirituality, there's always a lagging behind, and it's been consistent.
Yeah.
So as we move towards this perfect union, what we're trying to reconcile is, and this is where the anger of the younger folks is, because I never imagined that we'll be in this time. When I came up in the 90s, I thought we had gone past a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, it is. The 90s still feel that way.
In my perspective, that was then. There's a hope for the future. But man, fast forward 20-something years later.
Flashbacks.
Almost 30 years. I'm like, it's almost worse.
Yeah.
So I'm laughing. My wife has this thing when she talks about cycles. Mm-hmm. And you said something earlier that Jay-Z has patterns. But I want, in the sense that we've talking and we've went around the conversation, there's a cycle and there is a pattern that's being followed.
Yeah, outside of Jay-Z.
Outside of Jay-Z. Because you said it. You felt that in the 90s, we got past this. And when you talked, I'm going to say right after segregation, African Americans felt the same way. The same way you felt in the 90s. Now, we're back in 2019 having the same feeling. There's a cycle that's going on. There's a pattern. There's a way of control.
And it's funny because it's interesting because it intersects, because football wasn't as big, not nearly as big as in the 60s and the time of the protest as it is now.
That's true.
As far as things, there's been factors introduced through technology that have taken this thing to a whole nother level, and it really, to a certain dynamic, those factors are blind. For example, money is money, right? And numbers are numbers.
Numbers are numbers.
When the conditions seem to be consistent in spite of the money, in spite of the numbers, and we want to find that what's throwing my books out of balance, right? Mm-hmm. What's causing these things? Because if you look at the metrics, this is what should happen in this segment. This is what should happen here. But there's other forces, and what I'm trying to crystallize here is that Jay-Z, this capitalism that didn't exist in previous time, is here now, and it's based on just money. But yet this capitalism has a way of still having the same ways and the same thought patterns as that occurred in the 60s, just a little modified.
Right? Yeah.
Cambridge Analytica. Just laughing with that one, Davo, because that's what I feel like. That's how that's created at this point. Now, the big difference in what was different then to what is going on now is social media. Everything is socially inclined. Before, information could get suppressed. If a player acted out for a second, we can just fire him. He goes home. His voice is silenced. He may tell a couple of his friends who believes him, and then the barbershop talk, right, Trev? Yeah. Now you're in a platform where everything is socially inclined. Yeah. So when you give information out, it doesn't just sit in the barbershop anymore. It goes to millions of people. That's the real difference. And I'm gonna say it out loud. I think that's where the narrative is changed. They haven't figured out how to control us in that small bubble, because now instead of suppressing the neighborhood, you're no longer suppressing the neighborhood. You have to suppress the whole country. Now we're talking about suppressing the country 15 years ago when the internet was not what it is. Now where the internet is not just suppressing the whole country, it's suppressing the world, because
it's global at this point.
It's global. When we talk about stuff, spoke to a friend of mine who's from Africa, right? And he was like, when I watch YouTube, like I see the funniest things that what goes on in America.
Yeah.
And you're thinking before in the news, information didn't travel to all the way from here to South Africa till about what, a year in advance? It depends on what the information was.
On what it is.
Took years.
Yeah. Man, Honduras had Jerry curls in the 90s, bro. In the 90s. Bro, that wasn't Jerry curls? That's late. But that's super late.
It's super late. Now, we're in the now generation where the narrative is controlled now. Now, you said football season is about to start.
Yeah.
Now, Jay-Z's a tactical person. We've seen that. That's his pattern. He doesn't. It's just, I would say this: a pawn doesn't die on the chessboard unless he moves out of his place.
Yeah.
Until you start moving him on the board, he doesn't get taken. Right? No player on the chessboard gets taken unless you make a first move. So for Jay-Z to make that move was calculated. I want you to understand. Now, guys, I've been around sales, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the best thing you want to do in sales is tell you, Donville, everything costs $100. But I just identified the biggest issue you're going to have is your money, the $100. Now I'm going to start talking and distract you. What Jay-Z said in the conversation is that we heard Kaepernick. We know why the kneeling is. We know what the problem is. What he did, he identified the issue right in front of your face. That is your issue right there.
Okay.
Let's look past the issue. To me, it's a sales pitch. You feel me? You're telling us put the issue to the side because we already identified. Right. It's not, when you put the issue up front, it's no longer an issue. Now the issue is how to make you accept it. And that's where the narrative now lies. Because he identified it. We know why he kneeled. We know everything Kaepernick needs to do. He said that.
Now watch what I'm about to do.
Watch what I'm about to do. And that's the narrative. Scary. That's the scary narrative. Now, we were talking about decisiveness in the industry, right? Now, Donovan, I would say it like this. I feel like per podcast talks or radio interviews, the conversation of playing, good cop, bad cop has just been going on. Who really is with Jay-Z, who's not. Yeah. But on the spectrum of listen how artists are speaking, they're all standing with Jay-Z. Now, you're talking about the power that Jay-Z has, the power that other artists has as an artist. on their own platform.
Yeah.
You know, like, for example, I was happy when Rihanna was like, you know what, guys? I'm not standing with Jay-Z on this one. I'm like, Riri, you got to be losing some money. There's got to be a money conversation going up that made you step away like this.
She's too high to lose money.
400 mil net worth.
Come on.
Yeah. No, she's fine.
That makeup line's crazy.
She has enough money to have her opinion now.
Say it again, Trevor. Say it again. She has enough money to make her own opinion.
Yeah, because even Jermaine Dupri kind of said some things about Jay-Z, and then all of a sudden he kind of just walked back on all of it. Like, he got a phone call, you know, like,
he like you.
Well,
Chase Bank called him.
This is in every type of revolution. What's going on right now is what happens. Can the force that wants to oppress? Because let's be honest, if we dive deep into it, it's about influence.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have these people that are in there. Jay-Z is a source of influence. The NFL wants to continue its influence. The influence is what makes them their capital.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So it's an issue of influence. Now, the issue of social injustice for African-American men is one that jeopardizes their influence. In the sense of you have African-American men predominantly working for you and creating this entertainment that you provide.
Yes, it is.
So in Jay, he says, okay, well, I have the solution. I am the solution. I have influence.
Yes.
I can help influence this issue away.
Yeah.
And right now, what we see is a team of influence being put in, but there's always that voice of the people. Something doesn't smell right about this.
Yes,
and then within us, we have that
gut feeling,
that spirit that is just. And when there is a level of injustice, there's like a law in humanity that makes men want to stand up and say. And I think they're going to try to continue to influence and push it, by distracting us like how they keep us distracted. There comes a time that people say, you know what, this is not right. And we see what you're doing and we see what the possible intentions are.
Yeah.
And as we spoke before, as far as we see how you move, you have a resume. You have a library of work, not just your music, how you flow. You're very private with your daughter. We know that. You locked down the whole hospital wing when you had you're loving to your nephews and you love your family.
Yeah.
You have a resume. It ain't hard to go outside of that because it is published, even though you may want to be private. Right? There's things that you do that speaks, but this speaks of something almost nefarious.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what Donville said, is that you sold or attempted to sell, whether it's conscious, semi-conscious, or unconscious, something that was not yours to sell. And that alone is unconscionable.
Yeah.
But and this is the question. This is Donald. We had this continuation from last week. It's like selling my data, my file
That's true.
without me knowing who's purchased it and what it's being used for when it's being purchased.
Yeah.
Because now you're selling something that's not supposed to be sold, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know the intent and what the whole idea of it is. And we already know that whenever anything that's whispered in too much of a silence is not good for you. So for the fact that you guys are changing the narrative of going behind the back door, we want to see what's going on in the front. Like, let us really know what's going on.
Yeah, and I think when you say, because when you say whispered in silence, it speaks of the auditory, the hearing, right? But then the seeing is called darkness.
Yes, it is.
Right? Yeah. So anything that is darkness, it's not good. Because whatever you want that's good, you publish it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Easily.
So there is darkness in this, even though it's spoken in a certain way. I guess at root, capital has done this many times. They've displaced countries, they've stopped movements, and all kinds of. There's a body of work similar to this that's been done, and it's interesting because capital is synonymous or even equivalent to power, and the power powers to be, government, for example, you mentioned the data and stuff like that. When you have companies packaging and selling your data, if it benefits the government, they're the last stop. So they can give the yay or nay.
Yeah, regardless of what you might think.
And the government has been moving towards more power and more control, not necessarily what's in the best interest of
the
people's rights.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how this all intersects, and I'm curious to see because I don't tune into these kind of stuff because too much. But this was interesting. I had to sit down and watch my boy because I've seen him come up. I rooted for him when he was an underdog, and when Reasonable Doubt came out, and he had been under the tutelage of the other guys, and he just had a special talent, but also a talent that transcended into his music. And as he told the story, there was a component of him in his music.
Yeah,
that you kind of rooted for him. Like even in 2001, we had the beef with Nas. I love Nas.
Right.
Yeah.
Nas was my boy. I mean, I listened to Illmatic like it was the Bible at one time. It was this auto reverse in the replay. Right? No, not even. This is before CD. The CD was there, but
cassette days. Sure, I love those are the good days
before we could afford CDs, right?
Yeah.
So when he went against Nas, I sided with Jay.
Wow.
Right? Not because he was just from Brooklyn. I just felt Jay. I could feel him.
Yeah.
Like, whereas Nas was a lyrical artist second to none.
But you didn't connect with him.
I feel Nas like that.
Yeah.
Like Jay, I could go through as he talked again, spoke about his nephew, spoke about certain things in his music. You could connect to him. Yeah. And so when he grew, I applauded. You know, even when we go back to what you're, because I think it's interesting to talk about the dynamics of the separation between him and Dame Dash. The industry wanted Dame, but Dame was too abusive.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. He was too
abusive.
Too much of a Negro.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And Jay was more, controllable. He'll listen, and so it was a choice not made by Jay. It was made by someone else. To say, hey, we want to go with you,
that guy.
And this is the advantage for you. And he really had no choice. I mean, he did have a choice, but it was one that increased him or decreased him.
Yeah, so how can you turn it down?
And you look back, he's a billionaire now, married to a billionaire to be.
Yeah.
And she's pretty close.
Kanye always says something that stuck with me about Jay. He says he knows how to move in a room full of vultures.
Yes, he does.
And you see it play out in his business, the way he does business, just everything. Like he knows how to navigate that world. So, and
I think again, going back to, I love Jay, but I think he overstepped. There is an issue that we lack in today, and that's order.
Yeah.
Sometimes we violate the principles of order.
Yes.
And I think
yes.
When he tried to correlate moving on to his business, because that was the correlation that wasn't done directly as Goodell sat back.
In the corners.
Is that moving on the implication is that we move on by supporting you in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes to what Cap was doing, it has an effect for the masses.
Yes, it does.
Exactly.
Benefits the masses as far as those who may fear the oppression or the perceived oppression of police. I know for myself, I've always get nervous.
Right.
Even now, it's like, okay, I got to have my ducks in a row, even though I live a life that is considered straight and narrow.
Yeah.
But so when Cap is doing that, things are changing, and the mechanism is beginning to really take root and really unfold. So when Jay comes now and says, "Let's move on," what happens to that?
It's like it's not done yet.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is what I mean by prostituting, is because now you used your position, your influence, and you kind of diluted and poisoned something that never should have been poisoned, at least by that sphere.
That's strong.
Man.
No, it's strong because I mean, yeah, I have daughters, so my mentality, especially to what prostitution does to a person, because there's male prostitute too, but for what it does to a person and what it is, because you technically is trying to provide for a service that will never stop.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. So when in the term of prostitution, us as people in some sense, is like you're basically not satisfying a need. It's just a temporary fix. It's just like this is just to keep you guys quiet for now until you're ready to until another situation comes up and we have to fix it again.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it.
Instead of fixing it.
Instead
of taking the time going through the pain. It's painful, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But we could go through the pain to resolve it. And and I'll say this, and I love all people. And I would say when the protests, when they say all lives matter, right? It can be as diluted as that. When I say I love all people,
yes.
I use diluted.
Like you work out a little bit.
But I do love people, and it's been a journey for me to get to that point of loving people, because there was hatred in my heart at one time. But in this country, I came to a realization when Trayvon Martin was his killer.
Yeah.
George Zimmerman.
It allowed me to see something not based upon what I thought, but based upon the facts around me. And I told my wife when that happens that they didn't see a young man. They didn't see a young boy, a person with potential, a person that a seed that had dreams and aspirations and was a minor.
Yeah.
Right. And what they did see was a threat to acquit a man who went in provoking that seed, that person with potential, that person with dreams and aspirations and hope, and went provoking, even though the authorities told him to disengage. To acquit him. The facts in there allow me to see where we are, not based on what I thought.
How you
based
feel?
on what the evidence in there. And if that was 2012, I believe, when that verdict came.
Yeah.
And we're not so many years, but considerable amount of years removed from that. And the reality is becoming more stark. When I say it's more contrasting. The one side believes it's one thing and the other side believes it's another.
Yeah.
And it's I think this situation in the protests, that's the real prostitute, the real disservice that I think Jay has done, is that stark reality, those contrasting views that plague and harm and really make it oppressive to some degree to a segment of the population. You just throw that out the window.
Yeah.
Just throw that out the window for what in mind? Capital. You
Pretty
getting
much.
big. And this is the thing, he didn't own that. That was for all of us.
Yeah.
Remember South Carolina when that man got shot in his back? And if it wasn't for that young man taking that footage, that cop would have been acquitted.
Yes, that's right.
Running away, got shot in the back. Right? And you can go on and on as for example, some 50-50, some, you see we do have an issue with respect and authority, I believe.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And however, what I think is not said, and this is what leads me to believe as far as what the reality is that when people are trained and go through a career, they're professionals, meaning that they should have a higher burden than just the citizenry.
Yeah.
And what's not said is that we don't hold those professionals to a professional standard. When I hear them speak, they say, I want to get home just like anyone. Imagine a military person that goes to war with that mentality.
Yeah.
I want to go home.
Horrible.
Yet they have, when it benefits them, they carry the name of public servant. If you're trying to get home, what are you serving? If your main objective is to get home to your wife, Where's your service? And to tie it back to Jay-Z, that is what he's perpetuated. There was a correlation that I saw, very funny one, I guess YouTube or Facebook. He said Jay-Z is an overseer.
Wow.
He's an overseer. The overseer's job. And I'm not saying that's what it was, but that was his perspective. The overseer's job is to be that person, that same color, same background, but to get the master's work done.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's a lot more complex than that. There is a simple way of looking at it. However, there are truths that ring true with that characterization. And for him, that has really had a reputation of being the one that voice against the authority, that voice against looking for truth. He really dilutes and waters that down. I wonder how that is going to play out in the future for him. Because he had a power. Look, we as people of color don't have a real central focal point of leader.
We don't.
With the integrity. I mean, Barack Obama was good, but he was the leader of the country.
Yeah.
He wasn't the leader of a segment or a group.
Right.
And the leaders that we have that we've had since Martin Luther King Jr. have had some type of scandal,
so shady,
questionable.
Yes.
And integrity is key. It's key going forward.
Yeah.
And even back then, it's key. Al Sharpton, we love what you say, and you're there when we need you. But man, you got caught on tape selling coke.
What are you doing? What are you really doing?
Right? So these are the elements that, even as you didn't get indicted. Okay, it's not because. Okay, we understand, but these are the elements that we need a washing of leadership.
Yeah.
We need a new order of leadership, a new consciousness, and this is maybe where we turn as far as. Well, I don't know how long this podcast lasts, but when we actually start looking at solutions. We need young men to step up with integrity. Young men to have voices to be able to speak to these things and articulate without anger.
That's right.
Yeah.
With fact, with evidence, with reason. And not to say that they care, because for me, what Trayvon Martin did for me is like I realized the segment out there that status quo doesn't care.
That's right.
So when it comes to what I think a human is, like if someone's 13-year-old boy or however old he was is running away and a grown man chases him and I find out he shot him, and I think, wow, what an injustice.
Yeah.
However, it was not seen that way. And the thing is that we learned that. We being not the dominant culture, we learn empathy. We learn from them. Mm-hmm. When we hear of who someone that a life that was altered or damaged, we learn because they grieve, and we learn to grieve. But when we have situations like the mother in Arizona that was stopped and was arrested and harassed by her in front of her own kids, we would say that doesn't match up with what you told us.
That's right.
Yeah.
What you have shown it that doesn't match up. And when we hear "shut up" or that you whatever the label is, and it doesn't coincide because justice is supposed to be blind. Lady Justice, the symbol, there is no sight.
Exactly.
However, it seems like, and it's just too many occurrences that justice does see, and justice is partial. And that's what we want to fix. That's what CAP is protesting about. Is that justice needs to be blind, and the measure that is applied to one person, for the most part, should be applied to all.
Yes, that's correct. Because I mean, and this is my thing, and this is because as a parent, you say this: what's good for one should be good for the other. It's not. There's no such thing as favoritism. We're supposed to be. We're a human race, not just an individual. We're all one people, regardless of your skin color. But you can't tell me that it's okay for you to cry wolf, But if we cry wolf, it's like, nah, there's no wolf out there. That's how it seems. It's like, you guys cry wolf, okay, guys, let's get the shotguns. We're gonna go hunt that wolf down. But if we cry wolf, it's like, nah, there ain't a wolf out there. It's just a dog. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not until something heavy is majorly lost before we start taking the consequences. Because for what? We talked about the whole fact that social media is what's changing it.
Yeah.
Injustice and police brutality of this nature, right? Trayvon, Freddie Gray,
Eric
Gardner. These injustice has been going on. The major difference is that now we can see it from in front of our faces. Repeatedly. But this is the part that's so sad to me. We've seen it so much and nothing has changed.
Yeah, that's the main concern right there.
That's like the biggest thing. It's like, after Trayvon, you'd expect, okay, stuff to start changing, because that was a major injustice.
Yeah, it was huge.
That was huge. But as time has progressed, it just seems that we've gotten worse and worse and worse, to the point now we're dealing with mass shootings.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't even...
even that isn't really... That's starting to get watered down to the point where you're like, oh...
Oh, yeah. He killed 20 people?
Died? Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to...
It's scary.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, when does it stop? And this is how crazy it is when I see stuff like this. It's like, as a parent, a lot of these stuff is taught when you're at home. You have to, as a parent, you have to teach your child correctly, because your child is who grows up to be a congressman, a police officer, or judge, a senate, a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Because to me, racism is taught. Injustice is taught.
Let me just touch on it. There's a certain innocence that a child has naturally. And you see, like, around, that age where they're developing very quickly. And they're taking all that information from their parents, from the people around them, where they start to separate, okay, I'm going to care for this, but that I'm not going to care for. Mm-hmm. I'm going to love this doll, but this doll, I don't care, because that's not my favorite toy. Those things are important in your developmental phase. So you're right. I mean, this stuff is taught, but how do we stop it?
Still a question we will
never answer. We're still trying to figure how to answer it.
Yeah, because
some people thought that it was economic. I think economic does have a root into the issues, but others said, okay, well, we had more police of color involved, and that would help, and that didn't help. What you had that was police of color being the perpetrators on their own people, because the system. When I say the system, let me clarify, because that's a word that's been watered down.
Yeah,
the system is okay. Yeah. The man and stuff, but the system is in place. The laws being passed locally, the procedures and policies put in by the police, the spirit of the police, the procedures and policies to abide by the structure or parameters that are and targets, because every jurisdiction has a specific issue.
Yeah,
and what in concern or as far as what to address when it comes to crime. So when you have that enforcement entity now that having these policies and procedures that target, and so you could change the elements and the parts, but if the parts of that car are still going to the same direction, you ain't changed much, right? Of course. So these are the things that have been, and I guess as we try to all, come to a point of equality, right? Because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what we want at the end of the day.
That term is equality. For some segment of the population, that word doesn't even necessarily ring, because they don't have to worry about that. It's like, we know who we are.
Yeah. And
we're free to exercise who we are in this wonderful country called America. For other segments of the population, there is a desire to be like what you say I can be.
I just want a piece of the pie.
In freedom, right? And if there's equal treatment. But at the same time, just being completely transparent is that we as humans are partial, right? So when you look at, for example, if you work at a certain place and you get your cousin into a job, right? That's partiality.
Yeah.
Right? But that happens more than none. Well, that happens more often than none. And so even within our dynamics, we want our family members to win, and we want to have that favor to our group.
Yeah, the people that you know, you're close with.
That is not an excuse. That's just being balanced, but it's not an excuse to hold others down, to see others down, and not step in. Imagine someone being raped, someone being beat, and you just walk by. And I feel like that is a lot of the sentiment, and not addressing these issues and not really seeing the gravity. There was a study, I heard it in several different books, and I guess it was in Brooklyn, where a lady was being like viciously killed. Not just killed, but viciously killed.
Wow.
There were screams. Nobody called the police. Right? They just turned their like a blind eye, a deaf ear to the situation. I forget the details of it, but I read it in several different books. And the study concluded that because of maybe that no one stepped in, they figured somebody else would do it. And where we are now, it's with social media, I think we're still evolving, because even that tool, those that are trying to control still don't know the power of it. Yeah, and it's trying to harness it. So this is when it comes to going back to what Jay said and what he did, it's kind of unpredictable what's going to happen, because if people now begin to rally, because truth is truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can't hide truth. And if Jay, you are on the side of truth, well, you're going to be okay, my brother.
You'll be fine. You'll be all right.
But if you're not on the side of truth, with social media, to your point, you're going to be exposed.
Yeah. Very true. So, man, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, man. I'm sure by the time Super Bowl hits, we'll see what happens by then, at least. Oh, man. But it's been an interesting week.
Yeah.
It has.
We got any other to talk about?
After that, man, I don't want to talk about nothing else.
That's good point. I
just want to let that simmer in our listeners' ears, things that we've been talking about, because it really is up to us. What are we going to do with it? Because we're at the age where, everyone does have a voice, and that voice can easily be set on a platform. And just like we have the podcast here, this is a platform. And there's so many other platforms out there that are run just locally, not by, big corporations, but by just small groups that can easily be heard. So,
and that voice can go viral.
Exactly.
So, for example, the power of thought. And we express a lot of thoughts out here, and someone can take it and synthesize it and make it, polish it.
Right.
Yeah.
Really present it to the powers that be. So that's the offset. I guess the other side of the coin, to be in a powerless situation, as far as the reason why we're protesting, because hey, something needs to be done about this.
Yeah.
And it needs attention, but also that attention comes at the right time, it could create some major change.
Definitely.
So Danville, before we wrap stuff up, I don't think we had a proper introduction, because I know we kind of had him jump in. So
we did.
We didn't want to do that. So just before we let you we jump off, guys, so you kind of know who was speaking. Go ahead, Doc.
Come on, this is my mentor, my brother, Conrado. He's got a mortgage company. He's currently developing. Does financial consulting. He's the inspiration to the youth. He's a man that wears many hats. Okay, but I'm glad to call him a brother and a mentor, and he's here with us today, just giving what he can.
I'm really glad to be here, guys. I plan on saying in some more, not without your permission.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Time. But I wanted to come in and just like kind of see what you guys are doing and see the process. Because sometimes, I think this type of medium is very powerful.
It is.
So I wanted to see people that were already doing it. So I want to congratulate you guys for being consistent.
Oh, thank you.
And doing it. I know I asked Donald about it, and he says he has a team. It's also good to actually finally see the team.
Yeah.
Because, we break up and we come together in different forms, and there's a lot of forms that we need to come together in. And I hope that this is just the beginning of a lot of a whole great deal.
Oh, just the beginning. The beginning.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We even dropped the episode. This is episode 57. Yo.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
57.
The contact that we had, so we just had to run it.
Getting our numbers there. We're looking for by the end of the year to be over 1 million listens. That's the whole idea. We're over 500 already, so we just want to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
I would like to say, guys, I want to say thank you, Mr. Conrado, for more than anything else. Now, Don, I mean, based on the fact you have a guest here, I want you to go ahead and close us out with a positive thought for the week.
Man, I was on the ratchet thought.
You want a ratchet? All right, well, I'll go with a positive.
You get the ratchet thought.
No, it's fine.
Just tag that.
All right, so now go with a ratchet first, and I end with a positive, just so I can tie it up.
Ratchet thought, man, is give me my Popeyes.
Give me your Popeyes.
I've been hearing this argument between Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. I haven't had a chance to taste the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
Yeah,
I heard it's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, I heard it's blowing Chick-fil-A out the water. So
really?
Yeah, my fiance was saying that she enjoyed that, and she was critiquing because she used to. I don't want to say her former employee.
She was working for Chick-fil-A.
Okay, he did it. So she was saying that the Chick-fil-A sandwich, she used to make them, so she knows that how the pickles are. She knows how the texture of the fried chicken. Compare it to Popeyes now. Popeyes come crispier. The bun is sweeter.
Come on now.
The pickles got a certain flavor
got a
to it.
Spice in there.
Then I don't know if y'all know about that new sauce that sweet heat sauce. Put that onto the sandwich. See what happens.
Put it onto the sandwich and see what it does to
I don't know.
you.
I might go to Popeyes. I heard there's like a 20-minute wait.
Sold out.
Yeah.
So is that your ratchet thought?
No, my ratchet
That's the ratchet thought.
My ratchet thought is I don't see how Joe Budden is number 3 on the top 50.
No shade, Joe. No shade, Joe. No shade, Joe.
I respect him in the entertainment and media personality.
No shade.
But
whose list is that?
Who created that list?
I don't know.
I didn't know. Joe, we love you, dog, but you and I both know you ain't need to be at number 3.
Not top 3.
Even number 10? Is even the top 10?
No, not even the top. Well, let me not start the joke.
30.
Probably 30.
Maybe 30.
I don't know.
Most Def is 30.
What?
What?
Yes.
He's not the most Def.
Yeah. So Joe,
Something's up.
Yeah, Joe, something is up. Not to throw no shade.
That list is biased.
So guys, first I want to thank Mr. Conrado to come out, and let me end with a positive thought: the power of capital. Now, as a people, we have to understand what our resource is, what we mean to the society, what you mean as a capital. The whole idea is to figure out your process and your way in life. So whenever you make your next step forward, you can be the capital you want to be. One Pod Podcast, guys. We out.
Peace.